G'day guys, welcome to the channel. Um, this week marks the first week of the Season 1 2026 season. So I thought what better way to work out what I want to race for participation this season by going through all of the series that actually get populated races alphabetically and rank them on a tier list to work out what I think of the schedules and what I think is going to be the most fun. So we'll get right into it, starting off with the Advanced Mazda series.
Right, I am going to stop myself right there. Pre-recording, I didn't realize how long this video was actually going to end up being, nor how long it was going to take to record, let alone edit. So this video is probably best enjoyed in an audio-only format. Feel free to watch it if you'd like and have a look yourself. But I do narrate just about everything and whereabouts I'm putting my picks and why. So if you want to have it on in the background while you're doing something else, or I don't know, cooking dinner or something like that, that is absolutely no issues with that. You're not going to be missing out on anything. So I'll let pre-recorded me get back to the nonsense. Enjoy my extreme bias and get your fingers ready to type some hateful comment afterwards about why I don't like your favourite track.
Rightio, let's have a look at the schedule. So, couple of free tracks to start off with, which is always nice with a free car. Virginia's at the Grand Course, which is big. Okayama, the Nords, which will be one of the full layouts. Yeah, it's the typical like Ringmeister layout. Laguna Seca, staple. Bathurst, Daytona, Miami, Spa, Interlagos, Red Bull, Adelaide, and Summit Point. I think that's a really good, really good schedule, to be honest. Coming over to have a look at the tier list. Now, I like that it's got a lot of new tracks. It's got the Miami, it's got Adelaide in there, a bit later in the season, but it's there. Daytona, Bathurst. Honestly, I think there's not really any bad tracks in there. I really don't think there is. I can't see anything that makes me not want to race it. So I think I'm going to slot that in A. Right, up next is the BMW Power Challenge. So I don't even have the Jerez, the first track, so I can't really comment because I've never actually driven on it before. But as for the rest, we've got Adelaide again, which will be a staple, and Miami. They'll both be staples, I think, this season. Mexico, which I think is great. Daytona, another great track. Imola, Spa. To be honest, it's looking pretty good. Summit Point isn't my favourite, but being a free car, free track's got to be in there too. Interlagos, Bathurst, Alton Park, which is a fantastic free track, and Portland. It sounds similar to what I just said about the MX-5s, but like other than maybe Summit Point, I love all of these tracks. Obviously, apart from the first one, but Adelaide and Miami and Mexico, all the new tracks, it's fantastic fun, and the rest of them are all bangers. Daytona, Imola, Spa, banger. Same with Interlagos and Mount Panorama for this track. And I've actually been really wanting Portland to be on the schedule a bit more because I just haven't had the opportunity to race it that much. So honestly, I think it probably goes up into A, but before the Mazdas, to be honest. Another great schedule. Right. I've just gone to look down here and I've just realised that these are definitely not in alphabetical order, and that's going to take a lot of effort to alphabetise them. So I've given up on that. You get what you're given. Because there is no chance that I'm going to spend ages doing that. It'll take me forever. Anyway, Fanatec Global Challenge, the Caddy and the Kia. Let's have a look. Rudd Skogan. I hate this track. I avoid it where possible. Can't say I've driven Detroit or actually seen it been raced, but it looks interesting. I reckon I'll pick it up eventually. Road Atlanta, banger. The Nords, always good fun. Ugh. Lebanon, no, especially not for something like the Caddy. Portland will go alright here, I reckon, in these cars. Road America, same. Brands Hatch, I reckon it'll be challenging. Red Bull Ring, Watkins Glen, Navarra, which I think that's the full layout, the speed circuit, isn't it? Yeah, it's the full layout. And Daytona to finish off. Not great. There's a couple of good ones in here. Like Road America's always popular. The Red Bull Ring and Brands Hatch might do okay. Watkins will get popular. And same with Daytona at the end of the year if we aren't all Daytona'd out by then after the Raw and the 24 and the IMSA. Oh, geez. Honestly, I think I'm debating, but I think it might have to go in. I think it'll go in. We'll go C. There's a couple of good tracks in there. It's not like it hasn't got anything to offer, but just not fantastic. Rightio, moving on to the Ferrari Challenge. Jerez again to start with. Adelaide, Miami, Mexico, Daytona. This is looking good. Not only is it looking good, it's looking familiar. I think this is exactly the same as the BMW schedule. And I quite like the Ferrari Challenge, which makes this a pretty easy choice, to be honest. I can't go ahead and put it in a different tier because that's a fantastic schedule, and I think I'm going to take the Ferrari Challenge over the BMW. The Ferrari Challenge copped a bit of smack last season with just the low participation, but I think that comes down to the calendar not being fantastic. There are a couple of good races, and the season just gone, but I think with a calendar like this, we'll be in for some good racing. So I might have to do some Ferrari Challenge this season, that's for sure. Rightio, F4. We've got a few of these, so let's smash them out. So the fixed global challenge per se. I know it doesn't say global challenge, but this goes all over. Navarra, Coda. I need to pick up Coda soon. Silverstone, Winton, Algarve, Miami, Alton Park, Aragon, Summit Point, Suzuka, Magello, Adelaide. Honestly, I think that Navarra is a tricky one with the F4. It's not bad, but it gets a little bit crash happy. But I mean, that's D class for you. Coda, Silverstone, yes, bangers. Winton, yeah. Algarve is a bit slow in these, or the track's a bit too fast, and the F4s just don't quite cut it. Miami will be great fun in these. Same with Alton Park's always good too. I can't speak for Aragon. Summit Point is a disaster. I hate it. Suzuka, it's the East Course, which will be interesting. That's funnily enough. I don't think you'll be able to overtake around there though. Maybe a little bit of slip down the main straight, but I mean that could introduce some interesting racing. Mugello is good with here, and Adelaide will be very interesting because it's a very curb heavy and bumpy circuit. So I don't really know how that's actually gonna go. I think I'll put it in B. There's some good races in there, but not all of them are suitable. So yeah, I think B is a good spot for it. Rightio, let's move over to the next one, which is what it'll be, Asia Pacific, not specific. All right, first Tsukuba, which is always a banger, but so hard to overtake in these things, man. Oh, Adelaide next week. We'll find out pretty soon then how that's going to go down, how the curbs are going to go down with this car. Suzuka, but the GP track, that's always good fun here. Great slipstream. Oran Park, another one where it's tough to pass, but I really enjoy racing there. the bend at the standard layout, which I imagine is pretty good. I haven't actually raced F4 there, at least not recently. Fuji, Fuji's a bit overhyped, I think, especially with the chicane section here. It's really tough to climb those curves at the end in the F4 because it's just so bouncy. Winton, sort of a stinker. It's hard. Sandown is good, but I haven't raced it. The hard braking zones are fun though in this. Okayama is a banger in the F4. Bathurst, that's all I'll race during week 10 is F4 there. And Phillip Island is good. And I'm not really that familiar with Motegi. But a lot of hard braking zones, which is fun in these with no ABS. They can be good fun. I think it's not quite A tier, is it? It's not quite there, but it's not terrible. They do struggle with the Asia Pacific because there aren't a whole lot of tracks in that region yet. I think slightly better than the fixed. I think being like having your Bathursts and your Adelaide up early, but I think it's still B tier. F4 America's next. Shoot over Virginia. Virginia is just chef's kiss. Definitely the best free track on the service, I think. Followed up with Miami, which again I've already said I think that'll be really good here. Road Atlanta, another banger, a little bit curb heavy, but good in the Summit Point. Vomit, I don't want to hear about it. Laguna Seca, yes. Mexico, I don't think I've raced F4 on the New Mexico track yet, but I imagine it'll be pretty fun. I think they're just slow enough that it'll make it fun. You can sort of avoid the curving a little bit because I know it can be pretty violent. Lime Rock is very competitive in the F4s, very tricky to pass, but good fun if you get into a good lobby. Willow Springs, I don't see this very often, so it's cool to see it. I don't have it solely for the fact that it doesn't get up much. But these sweeper sections, a lot of fun in this because you can just push these cars so hard. So honestly, I think that's a banger for this. Virginia again, but it's the North Course. There's a lot of tracks to pick from in the Americas, so I'm surprised that they've backed it up and gone again. Long Beach, hectic in the F4, but fun in that context. Road America, yes. Sonoma, not familiar with Sonoma too much, but this is the super long track. So a lot of good drafting along here, so it could be fun. Yeah, look, there's not... I think it probably... Yeah, you know what? I think it'll be like the very top of B tier, very bottom of A. Yeah, nah, we're going to go with A. It's only just, but I really like some of the configurations here. So, nah, I've changed my mind again. Nah, start top of B. We can have another look and see if there's any categories where there's too many at the end and decide. But for now, it's going to go to the start of B. Rightio. To round out the F4, let's go to Europe. Starting off at Oschersleben, which is alright, but it's tricky. And I honestly, it's not my favourite track. It's alright. Hungaroring, it's okay. Not my favourite again. A little bit of vomit. Monza, that's a staple. Yes. Lidenon, just no. Zolder, I don't think Zolder gets enough love, to be honest. I really enjoy Zolder. Barcelona, Catalunya, it's got the stupid section at the bottom though. That would be so much fun in this if you had to go all the way because the drafting would be insane. It probably still will be, but the chicane ruins it. Rudskogen, Vomit, Misano's fun in these, but it's not, the F4s just aren't quite fast enough to really take advantage of the sort of the track limits here. Snetten 300, I think that's really fun. Same with Hockenheim, Zandvoort good, Magny-Cours, no. That chicane, anyone that's raced Magny-Cours knows what I'm talking about through 7, 8, and 12, 13 in the F4. that's like, oh, geez, no, just no. Trying to land it through there would be tough. Honestly, I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say that the only really good races here, Monza, Zolder, but it's not great. I think I think Spain gets ruined with the chicane. Snetterton's okay, it's a free track. Hockenheim and Zandvoort, yes, but I just don't really think there's enough. There's not enough here to pull me in. Certainly not enough to consider it for participation. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna chuck it in D. I am. It's just there's just not enough love there. Every series is gonna have some good tracks in it, but this has just got a lot of crap. Radio. Just moved some of these around because I realised things like the GP Tour, they're not even showing up in the UI, so I don't know what the go is there. I'm leaving some of the GT3 stuff out for now because they're obviously, like with IMSA, they're all going to be the same schedule, so we'll do those all at once. Global Endurance Tour, let's have a look at the UI and see what that's got this season. Now, I'm so personally worn out after they did the 24 hours last season. That was so much. The team that I raced with, we ended up calling it because we just weren't actually. The excitement was gone, the passion was gone. We weren't wanting to do it every week, so we gave up. So it's back to 6 hours, which is good, but I think we still might need a break. Either way, what's on the schedule for it? Sebring, which is game because we have the Sebring 12-hour later this year. It's in March, so it's only a couple of months away. So it's game of them to do the 6 hour now, but there's enough time between them. Daytona, however, very close. Good practice. If you're wanting to be really super serious about the 24, that might be good practice. But yeah, I'd prefer not to see the same enduros in the same season at least. Aragon and Jerez I don't have, so I can't comment on those too much because I don't really know what it's like to race them. Interlagos and Miami, I think is fantastic. In total, I am going to take the fact that the first two rounds of this series already have their own special events because I do think it's relevant when you're considering what you want to race this season. For that reason, I think that I'm going to pop it into the B tier, only because it's already been, some of those tracks have already been seen this season, and I think we'll slot it in only because of Interlagos and Mexico. I think we'll pop it in between the Americas and Asia Pacific. Now I know I mentioned that it was going to be primarily high participation, but I know that some people love racing the Formula Ones in this, so I thought I'd include it just for that fact. I haven't raced it, and I'm definitely not eligible because I struggle to keep it clean in the formulas. It is so tricky, but we'll have a look at the schedule anyway and assess it as though we were. It'll mostly be F1 track, so it'll likely be pretty good. Spa, banger. Mugello, banger. Monza, banger. Zandvoort in the F1, if you can control it, I think that's fun. Suzuka, Miami, bangers. Miami would be fun, actually, being obviously it's a new edition and it's on the F1 calendar. The Red Bull Ring and Interlagos, great tracks. Imola, Mexico, fantastic. Silverstone, great. And Phillip Island, which is pretty fun in these cars. I have driven it in test driving before. It's tough to argue that that's not a good. If it was any other series, I think that it would probably make the S tier. It'll be hard. I don't think I can justify not doing it. I think I lie. The only reason that it's not going to make S tier is because I really love and appreciate when the calendar uses different layouts to keep things fresh and exciting. These are all the GP layouts, obviously, because it's trying to stay authentic. But I think for that reason alone, it'll make the top of A tier, but it just doesn't quite have the balls to make it to S tier. Right now, the Clio Cup. I don't personally have it, but it's been something that I've been considering getting recently, just because it seems quite fun and different. Um, and about half of the actual races go official, so it's not like nobody races them. Anyway, let's have a look. Lime Rock Classic. Well, I don't know what classic means. I'm guessing that's just with the uphill, is it? Yes. See, that's what I like to see when they put that sort of stuff in there. That's great. Summit Point, Toilet, Lebanon, yeah, no, Toilet as well. Alton Park, Fosters. I can never remember which one's which. Oh right, it doesn't have the. So yeah, I think that's the best part of the track, though. I think, especially to promote overtaking. So that's not my favourite layout. Laguna Seca, free track, but yeah, it also has a banger. Tsukuba, Virginia North Course, Rudskogen, Winton, Oschersleben, Okayama, Navarra. These are all free tracks. They are all free tracks. I'm guessing that's obviously been done on purpose. I think for that fact, it sort of sucks. I mean, that makes me think twice about actually getting the Clio. They're okay, but when you have to race at Winton, Rudskogen, and Oschersleben back to back to back, even Okayama in these cars, it's probably a bit slow. I think that it really holds back the racing that you can have in this. So I think for that fact, I think it's gonna have to go down at D. I don't think it's quite. Do I do it? I think I am, because there's nothing exciting in there. I'll be honest. There's nothing that actually jumps out at me and makes me want to race it. So I'm going to put that into the just flat out no category. Unfortunately, no love to the Clio. Rightio. Turns out that this IndyCar isn't on the UI. I think it might be outside the season. So that's going to go at the bottom with the. I took out all of the fixeds, but the Supercars Australian series, Australian servers only, it slipped through the cracks. So the bottom three here, obviously, we're not going to use. Next up means Super Formulas. So let's have a squizzle there. I had achieved B before, but I got demoted during the season. Yeah, it's irrelevant. Don't worry about it. But I haven't even bought the Super Formula yet, so I'm just going to treat it like it's a faster Super Formula Light, because I do like racing those. Silverstone and Mugello, Road America, they're just bangers, especially with a bit of rain at Road America. That'll be fun. Adelaide Street Circuit in these, wowee. If I thought that the F4 was going to be bad, then I think that's going to have another thing coming. Miami will be fantastic. Same with Interlagos. Road Atlanta. These things will have the downforce to get around those curbs. The GP circuit at the Nürburgring, which I actually really like. I think it's great. Monza. Catalonia without the chicane. Coda and Spa. That's not looking too shabby, if you ask me. I think there's enough great racing in there, like some great tracks that will do well. With a couple of interesting ones being like Adelaide and Road Atlanta. I honestly think that's a really good schedule. If you're driving the Super Formulas this season, or have thought about it or plan to, you're in for a good race. I think that's going to pop up into A, maybe even before the Ferrari Challenge and the Beamer. That'll be a lot of fun for you Super Formula drivers. Rightio, it's time. We've hit GT3 territory. Now we're going to do the regionals first, and we'll go to the sprint and the fixed series. Not the fixed series, but just the. Oh no, I've put the fixed series in there. With IMSA, because they obviously run the same calendar, so we'll get round to that then. We won't do any major spoilers just yet. Start off with the Asia Pacific, as it usually is the trickiest to get a good year. We are treated by having Adelaide this season rather. I keep saying year. Tsukuba, awfully difficult to pass in the GT3s. Suzuka's fun, very competitive. The bend, I really like the bend. Some people don't, but I think it's fantastic. Adelaide will go really well in these. They did run it during week 13. I personally didn't get round to giving it a go. I was mainly stuck in the new Porsche Cup racing that. Fuji's all right. I still think it's a bit overrated. Winton Club Circuit. That's interesting. Even shorter. Yeah, right. Just misses out this bit at the end. Yeah, if it wasn't tricky enough, Winton, you've got to run this combination up here even more frequently. So each to their own. Sandown, Phillip Island, great. Oran Park, again, tricky to overtake, but I think a lot of fun. Mount Panorama, that'll be great. That'll be around the week of the Bathurst 12-hour, I imagine. Motegi and Okayama. Not bad, to be honest. Again, I've mentioned it already, but they do struggle to get a good layout, a good calendar, because they don't have that much to choose from. But I think they've done a good job, really. So, looking at it, I think B, maybe in front of the F4 calendar. I think if this was the F4 calendar, I think it would get a lot. I'd get a lot more enjoy a lot more. I'd have a lot more fun. I can't talk. Than if it was the F4. I think the current F4 calendar sucks compared to this. I'd much rather race that in F4 as well. So I think it beats it. Let's move on to the GT3 Americas. So we're starting off with Virginia as well. Seems to be a couple of series with week 1 Virginia. Road Atlanta was just great. Oh, Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. This is honestly, I think, one of the most underrated circuits on the service. Oh, I think it's fantastic. So I love the fact that it's going there this season. I think that's great. Miami, fantastic. No complaints there. Looks like Daytona week 5. That'll line up with either Raw or, well, more than likely, I'd need to double check the date, but I think that lines up with the Daytona 24. Summit Point, why would you put that garbage in there? Barber Motorsports Park, obviously you can see I don't have it, but it's very popular from what I'm aware of, so I think that's a good track. Watkins, yes, great in the GT3s. Lime Rock, tough, but actually quite fun, despite not being able to overtake. It's quite a tricky track with a little uphill chicane, but I do get enjoyment out of racing the GT3s here. Mexico, fantastic in the GT3s. So probably some of the best racing I think I've had was last season doing the GT Enduro here, the 3-hour. That was fantastic fun. Road America, staple, really good. And Laguna Seca is quite good as well. I think tough. I think with Mosport, Miami, Daytona, and Mexico, I think it's enough to bring it up from C, but not quite enough to push it up into A. I think it'll be a comfortable B tier slot. But where in B tier? I think maybe slightly better than the Asia Pacific, but not quite as good as the Global Endurance Tour. We are hammering the A and the B tiers, which is a good sign. I think that they've done a good job this season with the calendar, so I can't complain with that. Let's move on to Europe. Rudskogen, awful start. Bad. Silverstone, tough competitive racing, honestly, here in the GT3s, but still good nonetheless. Jerez, again, tough to comment, but I think the GT3s go alright there. Algarve is alright. In these, Spa will be sweaty as ever. Old Park, tough to overtake again, but still some good fun. Can't talk about Aragon because I haven't raced it. Red Bull Ring, yeah, again, tough, but fun. Oschersleben, no, not in the GT3s, not for me. Monza will be good. Donington, you don't see Donington pop up enough at all. which is one of the reasons that I haven't picked it up, because I know it's a fantastic track, but it just never comes up enough. And it's less than 200. I wish they made it to 300. Personally, I think that there's enough junk in here that to sort of pull it down. If it wasn't for Monza, and honestly, I can't talk on Donington and Jerez and Aragon, but I think they probably lift it up too. Spa, I think, is overrated, personally. I know that I'll probably catch some crap for that, but it's every season, and there's so many events here. It's so hard. You get people that are like 2.5K that are just like topping the leaderboards because they're just so fast. It's all they drive. It's just too competitive to have fun with. Same with Alton Park. It's really tough. A lot of these tracks are hard to overtake on, which can reduce the fun a little bit. For that reason, I think it's going to go in the C tier. Probably better than the Global Challenge, but it's still C tier for me. Right, it's time for some TCR love. These are underrated, man. These are so much fun. If you haven't picked up a TCR, honestly, they get good participation, and they're great fun to race. It's just something different. Okayama, fun in these. It would be great. Now, just need to make sure it's going to be, it's going to be the full track with the arena around the GP circuit, but I still think that's going to be a lot of fun in these. Road America, banger. Daytona, banger. That'll be for the Raw. Lime Rock, classic. It means it's got the jump. Oh, I note that Daytona's at night here too, and Road America's got some rain. Lime Rock with a jump. Long Beach, yes. Don't put Summit Point. Anything but Summit Point. Whoa. Do you see what I see, B1? I think I do, B2. Odds are combined. That is amazing. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'll be racing the TCRs. Virginia full course. Yeah, tough in these, but yeah. Algarve, track's probably a bit big. Brands Hatch is perfect size though, and the Brands Hatch I do notice has rain too. But then the good layout at Barcelona. Yeah, right. So Summit Point is really the only thing that sucks. Yeah, okay. And Monza combined. Lime Rock has the jump. Honestly, you know what? I think I want to be controversial and put it in S tier. It's good to see some rain in here too, some night racing. I think I want to save it for something special. I do, but I don't know how good it is going to get. If that makes sense. Look, we'll pop it at the start of A, because I think that TCR is underrated. But if nothing else gets to S tier, the TCR is going to have the best calendar. I'm calling it now. Right, now for the Radicals. I don't own the Radical myself, but I have driven it in test drive, and it's fast and fun. So I've still got a good idea at like what the racing will be like, I suppose. It starts off with Sebring, which is just, don't even have to say anything more. No chicanes at all for Alton Park, so that will be so fast into Knickerbrook and Druids. So that will be pretty wild for anyone that races these. Barcelona, Catalonia without the chicane, so that'll be flat through there, which will be insane. Daytona, banger. Long Beach, banger. Rudskogen, not a banger. No. But they've got to put it in somewhere. Brands Hatch will be tricky actually, because that's a really quick cars on a really skinny circuit. The old Charlotte Roval, interesting. I would have thought they would have chucked the 2025 Roval in everywhere. These would struggle in the hairpin though. But either way, I still do dig that layout. Circuit of the Americas, Mount Panorama, and Monza combined again. Wow, this is another case of what I think we just had, where really the only thing that sucks is like Rudskogen. Everything else is really cool. I think the Radicals have earned themselves a good spot. I think just in behind the TCRs, which is quite surprising, but good on them. Next up is the GTEs. They're starting off at Monza, which is a great start. These are great cars, but unfortunately, they're probably on the way out soon, just based on the participation and how old the cars are getting. But either way, Watkins Glen, fantastic. Daytona at night, that'll be great. Virginia, great. Road America, great. Road Atlanta, great. Mexico, great. Silverstone, great. The 24 hours of Le Mans layout, fantastic in these. Interlagos, great. Mugello, great. Suzuka, great. This is a really good layout, a really good schedule even. Yeah, if you're a massive fan of the GTEs, you're in for a good season, that's for sure. I don't think that this really falls apart anywhere. I think like the worst track in here might be like either Watkins Glen or Silverstone, and that's saying a lot because they're fantastic tracks. It's likely because they're pushing to try and get some participation for it, but I think that I don't really think there's any other place that I can put this other than going straight to S tier. There's not, it doesn't skip a beat. It's a pretty home run case for me. There's nothing in here that sucks. Yeah, I can't complain. Anyway, we'll get the IMSA endurance out of there. And let's have a look at the supercars, which I can guarantee will probably have Adelaide in them. First track, which will be super fun because obviously they've raced that as the final race in the supercars, which have just finished up. They go straight to the Bend, which is a good track for these. Obviously, race that. Yeah, they do the enduro in real life. International with no chicanes for Alton Park. That'll be tough, but fast. So that seems cool. Watkins Glen, the Cup layout. I get confused between the Cup and the boot. This might just be the one where it just goes straight through, is it? Yeah, it just completely misses the boot, which will be cool. Nice and fast in this. Barcelona, Catalunya. Why would they put the chicane in though? No. Mo Sport, which is, yeah, can't complain about that track ever. That'll actually be really tough. If anyone knows this track well and has raced the supercars, trying to slow that down here into Moss Corner will be a challenge. Legacy Silverstone. Why are we doing that? That is interesting. Why they're running the old track. Either way, yeah, I'm sure that'll be interesting. It's just I don't know why they wouldn't run the updated one, but it is the legacy one, so it should be like the $2 version. I know there you go, $4.95. That's Australian. It'll be like $6 or $7 Australian. Interesting that they'd run the legacy layout, but either way, Sebring, fantastic. Suzuka, fantastic. Miami and these will be unreal. Circuit Jules Villeneuve and Hungaroring, and maybe a little bit of rain there in Canada. This is a good layout. Good. I keep saying layout, man. This will be a good schedule. The Silverstone, the Legacy Silverstone, sort of ruins it a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll be good fun. I'm thinking maybe a low A, to be honest, because it's good. It's good. That'll be good fun, and they need that for the supercars. I think low A for sure. There's a couple of ones there, like the fact that Barcelona has the chicane and stuff like that. Watkins Glen misses the boot, and I do like the boot. I think that's good. I think that's fair. Rightio, back onto the Formula 1. We have the F3s. Starting off at Virginia, which seems to be very, very popular. Nürburgring combined. That'll be really cool. You don't see that often for Formula cars, so I really like that. Hockenheim, really fun. Daytona, banger. The West Circuit, for the Bend. Wow. This was late on in the season. I think this was like week 12. Oh no, this is different. Sorry, I was talking about the. Oh boy, what was I talking about? I was talking about the East Circuit, but the West Circuit. That's really interesting. So it cuts. Yeah, right. So instead of coming around and doing the you just sort of cut straight through. I don't know about that. I feel like that sort of takes away like one of the fastest parts of the circuit, especially in a high downforce car. I feel like that's sort of you're sort of cutting out the best part of the track. So I honestly I'm not a massive fan of that. I don't think that's a great idea. Suzuka in these amazing. Same with Barcelona. It's the historic version, so no silly slowdown chicane. Miami, baby. Mount Panorama, great. It's got the historic version of Mexico, which is the big loop at the end, which would be quite fun and challenging in these. Another one with the Legacy Silverstone circuit. What is that? And then Phillip Island. I feel like it's this sort of gets pulled down by the West Circuit, and by Silverstone, but it's still not that bad. The rest of them, the first half is a little bit tasteless, I think, other than the Nürburgring, like Virginia, Daytona. No one's really going to be wanting to do Daytona, considering how much it is going to be on the service this season. Same with Suzuka. It's the same old sort of stuff. I think it's not bad, but I think there's better tracks, especially for F3. There's definitely some better stuff that sort of can be on the schedule instead. So I'm going to go with a high B. I think that's fair. It might move up to A later on, but look, I think that it's at a good spot. Rightio, moving on. I don't know why I didn't do the Super Formula Light straight after the regular Super Formulas, but anyway, Spa up first for the Super Formulas. It's at the bike layout, which I think is actually really cool. You skip, you don't see it really that well, but you skip No Name here. So usually you go up and around the outside, but you have that little, you basically just cut No Name, which is it's minor change, but hey, if it's there, let's use it. Hey, so I'm glad they've done that at least. Indy Road Course, fantastic. I think it's a great track, especially in these cars. Lots of fun. Lots of Silverstone. I've noticed actually this season, but no issues with that at all. Sebring, do love it. Road America with a little bit of pour. That'll be cool. Mosport, yes. Monza, yes. Donington again. Can't comment on that. Laguna Seca, Miami has to be in there. Zandvoort and Barcelona. How? I don't think this is that close to the regular Super Formula, was it? I do like it though. Thinking the worst tracks here are maybe it's a good Barcelona layout. Honestly, and this is just from a personal standpoint because I'm not very good at it. Maybe Silverstone, and maybe Laguna Seca is a little bit small for these, but overall, I think this is a pretty good schedule. Thinking probably high B, I reckon. High B. I reckon that's pretty safe. Right. Now things are getting a little bit of interesting because we have schedules that match up based on their multi-class series. So most people probably know, but if you don't, the GT4 and the LMP3 schedules are the same. And they also match the Sports Car Challenge, which is a multi-class of LMP3s and the GT4s. So their schedules match up the same. So we're going to see a lot of the same stuff through here. But the only differences are really going to be some weather. So we're going to assess all three of these at the same time. So the bike layout for Spa, same as before. I like the fact they're going to use they're going to use that layout. The Nürburgring, but it's going to be the GP layouts, the WEC one, Oldham Park, tough.
but certainly good. It'll be tricky with the multi-class aspect, I think, but certainly a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure the Raw event has the LMP3s and the GT4s in it. I want to say that. I could be wrong. But I think that they use that multi-class, so that will be that'll be the run up to week 4. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, yes, that's massive. I love that. Same with Long Beach. That'll be really tricky with the multi-class. Miami, I think that's going to be a really, really good fit. Really flowy track. So the LMP3 is going to fly through, especially like that first section. And it wouldn't surprise me if the GT4s are quicker through the last section, where the chicanes and the curbs get quite aggressive. Monza combined. Now we're talking. That is just going to be unbelievable. The multi-class and that is going to be huge. The LMP3s will love that too. Portland, I'm really glad to see that. As I said earlier, I really Portland doesn't get enough love in the service at all, to be honest. It is relatively new, but needs to be featured more. I really like it. Algarve, I think it's a good fit for this sort of for at least for the sports car challenge. The track is big enough, gives enough room, different lines for each type of car. Mount Panorama, oh my god, I can't say if it's happened before for this sort of multi-class event, but I'm really excited for that because trying to get through, really, if you're not on the first stretch or Conrad Straight, like I think it's going to be really tricky to get past. Certainly going up the mountain, I can imagine that's going to be pretty hectic. And it rounds off with Barcelona, the historic layout. A lot of Barcelona's at the end, actually. Honestly, I think this is probably the worst track on here is Alton Park, and the only reason is because it's probably overdriven a bit and it's a free track. Other than that, I think this is a really interesting and fun layout. I'm gonna toss it up in the S tier, behind the GTEs. I think. I really think that it's going to be a lot of fun, and by virtue, I think that both of these are going to go up there as well. I'm going to put the sports car up in front of it because I think that they're going to get a lot more fun. You're going to get a lot more fun out of the fact that these tracks doing multi-class than anything else. We will quickly check the other series just to see if there's any crazy weather conditions. So there's Alton Park. This is for the LMP3 trophy, so only LMP3s and it's fixed. Looks like there might be some rain. Other than that, maybe a bit of rain at Portland. Wow, that could be really cool. Right. And then the sports car challenge, which is probably going to be the most interesting one in terms of rain. So there's possible rain for Alton Park and the rest of them, and a possible rain at Barcelona. Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I think I'm really excited. Definitely going to be one of my main participation races based on that calendar for sure. Right, so we'll move back over. Of course, the sports car endurance. Now, the sports car endurance runs every second week of the season. So that means that it'll miss some tracks. There's only 6 here. So looking, Spa, obviously at the bike layout again. Alton Park, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Miami, Portland, Bathurst, and some rain at Portland. That could be really cool. It misses some of the tracks. They're all good. I mean, at the end of the day, look, I think that if you're going to do the 2-hour races here, I think you're in for a good time either way. So I like what they've got here. I think it's going to go in the A tier as well, probably in front, I reckon. Right, now, on the topic of cars going the same places, we're going to have a look at all these races that sort of are categorised under the IMSA. So, again, just in case you haven't or you're new to some of these series, The prototype and the LMP2s both run as part of the IMSA, and the GT3s actually will move these over here. So the these are the LMP2s, the GTPs, and the GT3s all run as part of IMSA, and they also do the endurance events. But then the fixed, or in the GT3 cases, this the sprint and the enduro series, they also run the same calendar. So all these are from these like seven different series. They all run the same calendar for the week. So we'll start off by having a look at the prototype, which will be all of them, and then we'll have a look to see if there's any crazy weather conditions or anything like that that's gonna adversely make one better than the other. So this is just the fixed. So this is likely going to be a good one, but we'll see. Mexico. A lot of people don't like this in the prototypes because of the curbs. I still think it's really good. I really enjoy Mexico, so for me, that's a good one. It's a banger. Sebring, no questions asked. An amazing track for this IMSA. Le Mans, again, probably one of the best and most popular races as part of IMSA. No questions asked. Red Bull Ring, great. Daytona, of course, that'll be right around the 24. Aragon, not sure. Same with Jerez again. These two are in there. I probably need to pick them up this season if they're both going to be in the calendar a fair bit. Watkins Glen, no questions asked. That's another classic. Road America, Interlagos, Monza, and Miami. I think it's a really, really solid group of tracks. The worst maybe being Jerez or Aragon. Again, I don't know. Out of the stuff I have raced, maybe Red Bull Ring would be the least popular, or Watkins Glen. But in saying that, like they're great tracks anyway. So I think it's a really good place to start. In terms of rain for the LMP, no, this is the prototypes, isn't it? A little bit of rain at Jerez, but other than that, maybe at 20 at Le Mans, that could be cool. But nothing too crazy. I think for me, it's probably mid A tier. I know that I really like these two. Honestly, maybe just below these. They need to have the classics in here, and I get that. But again, I like stuff, like your Monza combined and stuff like that, and your different layouts. I really think that it's worth having those in. So we'll start by putting all of these up here. Put IMSA in front, just on the fact that it is just the open. And same with the GT3s. I thoroughly enjoyed the GT3s more. I'll put the Enduro before it as well. And this is the IMSA Endurance, so I'll probably chuck that behind IMSA. So let's have a look. We'll go through those quickly and see if there's any crazy conditions or anything like that are in the schedule. Radio, so for the LMP2s, a little bit of rain at Monza, which could be fun, and Sebring, nothing special. Now, just looking at IMSA, which will probably be the most popular. We've got a little bit of rain possibly at Sebring. Some rain at Aragon, by the looks of things, rain possible, but more than likely. And same for Monza. Yeah, okay, I like that. That IMSA's already at the top of the list, but I think that that solidifies its position there, because I do like a little bit of rain. Some people avoid it. I think it's great to have it in. Honestly, I don't think we get enough rain. Looking at the IMSA Endurance, it splits it, obviously, because it runs every second week as well. I think it's every other week to like the LMP3 series. I'm not too sure. It could be the same, honestly. I'm not that fixed into it. Yeah, if anything, actually, that probably it gets rid of some of the crappier tracks. So I'm going to actually place that above. That'll go above for me. I'll sit the IMSA Endurance above IMSA, just literally based on the fact that it isolates some of the better tracks for me. We'll move on and look at the GT3. So for the fixed, I reckon these will probably all be dry, to be honest.
Yeah, and it is. So that'll immediately fall to the bottom for me, which will adjust that in a moment. Oh, hold on. No, I've spoken too soon. The GT3s do not. At least the GT3 Fix is running a completely different schedule. Miami, Imola, Adelaide, Saturn Ring, Daytona. Yeah, okay. Misano, Panorama. Um, and Adelaide, which I love the fact that Adelaide's in there. I'm going to be really, really controversial here because I get to make the decisions. I'm actually going to place the GT3 Fixed up above it then, because I really like the idea of that. No crazy conditions, but it's got Adelaide in there, and I think it's got without Jerez and Aragon, which I have to be biased against and say that I don't think they're great, only because I don't see them there that often. And I can't say that I've raced them a bunch, so I'll quickly switch over and have a look because I may have spoken way too early. Looking at the GT Sprint series, yeah, no, I've gotten that completely wrong. So the IMSA doesn't go with the GT Endurance series, because this is the GT Sprint Endurance. So that's actually running the same one that we just looked at, and it's got Monza combined. Right, you've sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. Right, well let's deal with that then, because we need to shuffle over and fix that. Right, so I think that these all beat the IMSA series now. I still don't think that they're quite enough to pick off Ferrari and the BMW Power Challenge, but I think that the GT calendar is better than the IMSA calendar, essentially. I'm happy with that. I'm going to sit it there. Now, the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. This one is a TCR and an LMP3 combo. So on the weeks that don't run the sports car challenge, the endurance version, it runs the IMSA Pilot Michelin series instead. So it also takes half of the GT4 calendar, I think, and the other half of the TCRs. So this will be, and these are longer races too. I think can't remember off the top of my head how long they are. 2-hour races, yes. So these are 2-hour races as well. So Nürburgring, Daytona, Long Beach, Monza combined, Algarve, and Barcelona. That is a pretty good list actually. Especially for like 2 hours at Long Beach. That's fun. Daytona will be, that's before Raw as well. So bloody hell, you could do like 3 or 4 weeks back to back to back Daytona endurance events, which would be pretty wild. I think Algarve probably brings us down just a smidge. And honestly, even maybe the Nürburg, the GT track, and Barcelona is a little bit played out. So I'm thinking like mid to high A tier here. That's going with my gut feeling. So maybe like, yeah, I'm gonna go above the Formula A. Actually, because this was all the Grand Prix layout, so I'm actually gonna move that down, maybe to here, because I did like the Ferrari and the BMW ones. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, the production car challenge up next. Now, I love the production car challenge. I personally find it way more fun to race slow cars fast than fast cars fast. I think it's an absolute thrill. It's one of my favourite enduros. They're like 25 minutes. It doesn't take too long. Like, they're great. Right. Starting off with Virginia, just like everything else. But what's immediately caught my attention is the first time I've actually seen them run a different layout of Miami to start with. Rightio. It's tricky, but that looks like it could be a lot of fun, actually. And it looks like this... Like, they look like... Oh, they cut out the bottom chicane section, too. So it's just going to be quite a short layout. I'll definitely be giving that a go. That looks like a lot of fun, and I love that. I love that. That instantly makes me want to put this up higher. The fact that we get to race something different. The Snetterton 200, possibly with some rain. This would be quite good for the PCC, actually, because the BMWs excel on the straights compared to the Mazdas and the 86s. So that'll be a really good, healthy layout to help flow the traffic. Daytona, geez, I'm getting sick of Daytona by about after sort of like week 6 or 7. I'll never want to see Daytona again. Zandvoort, really good, really good fun multi-class because it's tough but not too hard. I love the fact that they add this old Phoenix track in. This is really fun. It looks okay, but actually driving this, really enjoyable. Definitely recommend giving this a go. This is a free one too, so if you haven't driven that, give it a go. Sonoma. I can't say I've used this before, but this is a huge track. I think the BMWs will go well here to help get through traffic anyway. And I'm a BMW driver myself. Like, I love driving that. So this looks like a good layout for this. Oh, fuck. Mount Panorama, awesome, fantastic. That'll be great fun here. But come on, man. Like, I honestly would just not even race Summit Point and take a drop week for it. This track just sucks, man. I just suck at it. I don't know what it is, and it's just filth. Brands Hatch, they did it here last year. Well, technically yes, but also last season. Or was it the Sports Car Challenge? I think. Yeah, it was a Sports Car Challenge, but still, I think it'll be a really good track. And with a bit of rain to spice things up, yes, please. The endurance layout, I forget what it does, if anything, compared to it just changed the pits, doesn't it? Yeah, right. Spa, yeah, classic. I still think it's a good layout for this. Oschersleben probably ruins it at the end, but I think all in all, I think with having the extended loop, having the road course in, even Sonoma maybe, Bathurst, I think this is gonna. It's not quite. If you swapped out like your Summit Point, and maybe even Daytona because it's in there so frequently, but it is a good track. I think it almost has what it needs to be to make it all the way to the top, but it's unfortunately not quite, just going to miss out on S tier. It's going to be the top of A though for me, I think. And by virtue, well, actually, no, hang on, because the production challenge, it's not on. I don't know if it's on every week. That might change where if the endurance challenge gets rid of some of these crappier tracks, it might make it all the way. So we'll just have a quick look, because I honestly forget what runs when. Production car endurance challenge. No, we need the the endurance challenge. Nope, that was right. Sorry. Endurance challenge schedule. No, it runs the whole thing. So it'll go just behind it, or no, I'll go just in front of it. Not that it makes a difference, really, because it's the same. It's the same track, but it will just the fact that it adds the endurance element, it'll go just above it. We're really getting up on the 80 here. We might have to filter some stuff down to B and C and onwards, but I'm surprised that there's not more down lower. There's not that much trash so far. Though in saying that, we're still a little bit to go, so I shouldn't speak too soon. Now, something I'm really excited for this season, I think it was a brilliant idea since they've brought in the new GT4 Mustang, is they've replaced the old Mustang with the new GT4 Mustang for the Mustang Challenge. So we'll have a look at that. And I raced this last year, and I had so much fun with it. I thought it was brilliant. So I'm really excited to give this a good go, and it looks like this is going to match the production car challenge. Ah, interesting. So they're gonna use the production car challenge track schedule, but in the GT4s, which I actually think is a massive home run, because that's not only is that great for I suppose people that are sort of still at that D class and haven't got a heap of content. But like it's a great layout. I think that it's going to be tough. I think I'm just trying to weigh up in my head sort of where, because I think it's fantastic. The fact I love it, but I think it is going to go behind it just because it doesn't have the multi-class aspect. I do prefer racing the GT4s, I think, at that layout, but the multi-class aspect is so important and adds such a dynamic element that I think that it just makes it slightly better than the Mustang Challenge. But I still am very impressed by that schedule. Moving on, the Spec Racer. Honestly, so underrated. This thing is so much fun to race, especially the fact that it's free. It starts off, though, with an absolute fucking dog water track. Rudskogen, no. Not one of my favourites. Moving on, Watkins Glen, Barber. The other one that uses the Phoenix Raceway. Gilles Villeneuve, yes. Aragon, the B course for Oschersleben. What does that look like? Oh, okay. I feel here's the thing. The spec races are so good in the draft. They pull so much. Massive toe, and you're taking away one of the biggest straights in the track other than the main strip. So I feel like that probably makes it a little bit worse, in my opinion. The historic layout, that'll be good. As I said, massive drag. The street course, I haven't raced here. It doesn't come up very often. And personally, it doesn't look that exciting. That's really it's 90-degree turns for most of the corners. So that's the reason I haven't picked it up. And it doesn't get featured that often. The Nordschleifer, though, lots of fun to race these at. I have done that before. Down the Dodger with these things, so much fun. Imola and then Lebanon. Oh, geez. Pooh. Not great. Honestly, I think that it could be so much better and it should be so much better. I can't justify putting that really any higher than maybe the D. Better than their 4 Europe calendar, but like even the GT3 Europe was better than that, and the Global Challenge. It's going to be D class. As much as I hate it because I think it's such a fun car, it needs to be better than that. Let's see if we can turn this around a little bit with the GT1s. These things are fun to drive, man. If you've never driven them before, they're so fast. Even though if you're going to buy the Aston Martin, because that seems to be much faster than the Corvette, but I think the Corvette sounds better, so that's what I drive. Right. The Nürburgring, it's got the GP track. Grand Prix historic for Mexico, so it's got that big bend around the end rather than the stadium section, which is fun. Road America, Mugello, good. Daytona, bloody hell, I can't get enough of Daytona. At least spread it out a bit. Sonoma. It's hard to tell, honestly. There's so many configurations, and they're so... Like, what's even the difference there, honestly? There. They all look sort of the same to me. I figured that it'll be a good track to race these cars. They're pretty quick. Suzuka, yeah, good. Nords, the ring, that's good. Again, with the Legacy circuit, I don't get that. Le Mans, though, is good. Watkins, good. Atlanta, good. Yeah, look, it's pretty good. I don't know how having the Nürburgring in there twice, and then Daytona again. It's not terrible, but it's nothing to write home about, is it? I think maybe even it's tough. I'm gonna go with high C. I think, just because, especially recently, I know that we've had some of the more popular series, but I think that I can expect better. I think, and it helps spread the graph out a little bit too. There's always that. GR86 Cup, rightio. Now we're in business. Let's have a look at what you've got to offer.
Just for something different, we're starting off at Virginia, the full course. I'm gonna have to look how many tracks starting at Virginia this week. Going to Adelaide, which will be really bouncy. The Miami Loop. Let's have a look at what this one is. Oh, it's the same one. Oh no, because we had the extended loop before, didn't we? We had the extended loop, but this is just the loop, so this is an even shorter version. I reckon that'll actually be some more iRacing. These things thrive on momentum and staying clean. So this could be a lot of fun. I really like that. Oschersleben, the B course, is the one we just looked at before with rain. That could make things interesting. Atlanta Short. I think that's the... Yeah, right. That could be fun too. Tricky though through this section, that's for sure. The ring layout, Summit Point, gross. Don't even talk to me. Red Bull Ring, Brands Hatch, Okayama Short. I don't know about that. I really don't like the short track that much. It's sort of just like it just grabs the worst parts of the track and just puts you around it again and again and again. That's probably a thumbs down. The National Historic with rain possible for Mexico here. So it skips out that little grass section up here, the slow section, and just brings you straight round. And then the stadium skips that as well. So that's probably, it's fun and different. I don't know about that in the 86s though. It'll be tough on the curbs. I haven't yet to race it though. I know they've done an overhaul on the physics this season. I haven't done it yet. I haven't played it yet, so I'll need to look at that. And then it's the cup layout here, so it skips the boot as well. For a D class series, it's really not bad. Hey, I think a low B tier. Summit Point probably brings it down a bit further, but that's just my personal opinion because I've got my own grievances there. But I think a low B. I think a low B tier is suitable for there. I like it there. Right, Porsche Cup. Don't yell at me because you've probably already disagreed with most of my opinions here anyway. But if it isn't completely obvious, I really like different layouts, different weather conditions, something to just shake things up a little bit. And I know that the Porsche Cup community is quite passionate about their schedule, and they don't really like to stray away from sort of the popular tracks. So look, we'll see how we go. Just keep it in mind. Stay open-minded. Miami, I've raced that a couple times already. It's fun. It's good. Spa is a staple by the sounds of things for the Porsche Cup. It is fun. I've enjoyed it in the past. Likely to keep enjoying it again. Never combined with rain unlikely. I like that. It changes it a bit. Interlagos, fantastic. Le Mans, fantastic. Road Atlanta, I struggle, but it is fun. Monza, I'll lose all my safety rating that week, but it's still fun. Imola, fantastic. Daytona, at least they've spread it out. Thank the Lord for that. I'm really glad. I don't know why it says 4 hour, but it does. 15 laps or 4 hours. Interesting. Sebring, Hockenheim, and Adelaide. That's better than I thought, actually. I thought it was going to be a little bit more bland than that. They are all of the big original layouts, but the Porsche Cup just gets so much participation that I can understand why. And I honestly probably support not doing anything too crazy because you get people that get up and about and they carry on probably a little bit too much and sook. But for me, I think Porsche Cup, I think it's got to take the cake so far. It probably helps that it's community driven. But it's hard to argue with a calendar like that, to be honest. So I'm more than happy to sit it up right at the top at the moment. Rightio, IndyCar. I've just realised that this is the not Indy Next. That's the IndyCar Fixed, which is the same as IndyCar Open. So we're not going to worry about doing it twice because there's no point in doing that. Right, let's have a look at the IndyCar layout. I'm not eligible anymore. I was last season, but like as I said, I got demoted earlier. Rightio. This obviously has some oval stuff in it. I'm not... You can see that obviously race oval based on my license, but I don't own that many. I mainly race like rookies and D-class stuff, maybe the trucks from time to time, but I don't really have a great knowledge of the tracks and whether they're good or not. So I'll sort of just stay middle ground with those. Road America, I think that's good. Michigan again, it's an oval. I don't really know. Spa, fun in these. Mexico, tough, but I think that'll be good. The downforce will be tricky with those. They've also redone the hybrid systems again this season for the road, so that could be fun. I just realised that Spa has rain as well. That could be interesting. Mid Ohio, I have this track and I actually really enjoy it. It was in the GT3s last year, or last season even, and I thought it was really fun. So I'm glad to see it back at least. I know it's on the IndyCar schedule, but I'd be interested in giving that a go when it comes up. Zandvoort, Sebring, yes, they're both good too. I think obviously the ovals impacted a bit because it's not just strictly road, but I still really enjoy it for the formula side of things. So not something I race participation for, but if I get my license back up, that is, I'll probably still give some of the road racing a go. I think for that reason, just because of the ovals, and I don't care much for ovals, it goes bottom of B tier. But that's just me. So if you're an oval racer, you can scream at me all you like, but at the end of the day, I just don't get the hype as much as I do for the road stuff. That's all. Right, on to Indy NXT. This series didn't get as much hype last season as I was hoping. I did race a fair bit of it, and I really enjoyed it. Pretty fast and quick, really twitchy. But I had some good racing, that's for sure. So we'll have a look. Road America and Okayama, I think, are really good, fun tracks. Miami will be really fun too. Looks like Barcelona might be a little bit wet. I'm glad to see that Daytona's not here. Historic layout though. These things are fun in the draft, so especially with their push to pass, it'll make things fun. Watkins Glen, classic boot. I'm gathering that's just the whole way, yeah, without the inner loop, so that's probably handy for these, because these things don't handle curbs very well. Zandvoort, nice. Interlagos, yes. Imola, I like. Same with Atlanta. Fuji, no chicane. That is the fucking key here. I'm glad they've decided to take that out. Mexico and then Adelaide. Wow, that will be a hard race, hard sell. I don't reckon we'll get much participation that week, because trying to get these things over those curbs, especially through 1 and 2, no, thank you. Look, all in all, doesn't blow me out of the water, but I think around a mid to low B tier is suitable. I think, yeah, maybe just behind the GT3s. I think some good racing in there for sure, but some just sort of a little bit bland stuff, like even your Okayama's. Like, yeah, it's all right, but I've seen better. Right, almost there. Rain Master. Let's have a look at that. Now, interesting thing with Raidmaster at the moment, actually, is there was a recent notification to say that the Raidmaster has broken it's making it crash. So all the Raidmaster races currently are, well, only at the moment, are there, but you go into a Raidmaster and it's not raining. So that's fun. Rightio. So taking into account that all these are going to be wet, again, don't know Jerez, but Adelaide, that could be crazy. Same with Miami, like through the slow sections. I can imagine that get real wet. The historic, which is, yeah, it's going to be the big arch at the bottom. There's not much of the stadium this season, really. It's almost like it's half and half. That in the wet is so much fun, though. It's so tough. You're on the edge of the grip the whole time. It's pretty wild. Daytona Road, yeah, if you want to practice driving in the wet and you're planning on doing the 24 and the GT3s, go ahead. Imola, Spa, God, you hate yourself during week 8. Go and do Summit Point in the wet, jeez. Interlagos, classic wet track. Mount Panorama, wow, that'll test you. Alton Park that's the layout without the big loop, I think. Yeah. So that will be tough, actually, coming down the hill here in the wet. And then Portland in the wet. Look, all in all, it's all right. It's nothing to I mean, Rainmaster's not that super popular anyway. But look, doesn't hurt to give it a go. I think I clicked the wrong button there, but I also don't care. Thinking somewhere around the B. I think maybe around here. The tracks are good, I won't lie. I think that's a suitable spot for it. Ringmeister. Obviously, the layout here is going to be exactly the same, so we're more basing this off the car. Mazda's week 1, that is so cool. Definitely going to give that a go. GT4's week 2, they're a classic here. The Lotus 79, if that's your thing. Super Formula Lights. Yeah, that's crazy. 3 Formula cars back to back. I think these are the old Mazdas, aren't they? Yep, the Pro Mazdas. If you're a fan of those, can't really tell you how they drive. They've put the old Mustang in here as well, which doesn't get much. That's what they've replaced the Skip Barber Challenge. They've now obviously got the GT4 Mustang instead of this one in there. The Caddy, that'll actually go alright. Those things are quick. Indy NXT, LMP2, TCRs. I think that's the GT3s. Yep, and then the BMW M2. Look, there's a lot of odd cars in there. Nothing like super duper funky, other than the fact there's a lot of formulas in there. It's not really something that I race a lot either, because the safety rating actually isn't as good as you'd expect. Maybe C class, honestly. There's nothing that really is too crazy, unless it's really a thing. But yeah, there's nothing like remarkable, I don't think. Right, now I've swapped the last 2 over because I know that there's some special stuff in the Legends Road Cup, and I thought I'd save that to last because we're ignoring these 4, remember? Formula 1600, the D class. I actually love racing this because it's got some really cool, it's just great to be able to race this, but on some paid tracks. So the Snetterton 300, I think, is a lot of fun. Remembering that these have massive draft, heaps of fun on the big tracks. So it'll go well at Snetterton. Same with Portland. I think it'll go really well there too. Nürburgring combined, chef's kiss. Whoever came up with that idea, amazing. Laguna Seca, but in the rain, again, you are a genius. That is great. Sebring, the club layout. That is just funky. But again, I still think that that's just masterful. Tsukuba, yeah, it's alright. It's tough to pass in these, as it is with everything else, but fun nonetheless. Phillip Island, great flowy track for these. I reckon I'll be picking it up pretty soon. I actually can't believe that, being an Australian, that I haven't got it yet, but Winton, boo. Don't like Winton, but that's just me. We'll deal with it. Interlagos, Navarra. This is the one that looks like a guitar. It's fast, hard braking zones in this. There's a big skill gap for that track in particular. I think it's a good layout though. Silverstone, the International. It's the shorter one. It goes alright. I feel like, and then West Bend Chicane. Why? No. I really, this is just a disaster. They sort of fall off the last 3 tracks, and then Winton. So 4 out of the last 5 tracks sort of let this down a little bit. It starts off really strong, and then falls off quite a bit, which is a shame because it really had some potential. I think for that reason, I think it's almost going to go like bottom of B, which is a shame because I really like that. But anyway, let's move on to the Legends Road Cup, which is one of my personal favourites for this season. So essentially, if you're like me and you love racing something that's a bit different, this will be your go-to. It's a free car, and it's just got some real funky tracks. Now, as much as I hate Summit Point, at least it's not the typical track. It's the Jefferson layout in reverse. So if you've never seen this before, Summit Point, actually, this is the normal Summit Point track, right? There's a completely different track behind the tree line. And and it's this little funky thing, and you can race it reverse, which you can't say for too many tracks on the service. So something real funky and different to start things off with. There's actually no barriers on this track either, so if you spin off in the wrong way, you actually just fall off the track and through the floor. So super funky. So it makes it slightly less shit, even though it starts off at Summit Point. Now, moving on, we've got Watkins Glen International, which is still a great track for this. It's the classic layout. So with these, the draft on these is amazing as well. So that just promotes fucking unreal racing. The road course, I've already said that this is great. Cadwell Park, I'm yet to pick this up only because like it doesn't get on the service much, but it looks like a lot of fun from when I've watched it. So we'll see. Park Island. It's just without it sort of cuts it in half a little bit. So again, something super different, which I think is great. Now things get interesting. Go to Mexico, but it's the EV circuit, which is the Formula E circuit. Look at that. What on earth is going on here? I've raced this in test a couple times, and it is just so weird, which I just think is amazing. I love that for this track. Now, I don't have Auto Club, but the fact that it says interior tells me that it's just something funky. It's something different. Like, who has raced that? I never see it anywhere. I just love that it's something different. Okayama to straighten things out. Free track. Great layout. Perfect. Historic for Barcelona, Catalunya. Again, massive runs down that back straight. Heaps of fun. Back into the funky stuff. Virginia at the Patriot course, which is basically just this, whatever this is. It is so confusing to race, but for that reason, so cool, so different. I love it. Back to Mexico again. Oval Stadium. What I hear you say? Yeah, it's an oval course, but you stop and go through the stadium each time. Super weird, super cool. I love it. And then, to finish off, Oschersleben, but on the C course. So, which is just this part, which honestly I think is like the best part of the track anyway. So, as impractical as this is, I really, really think that it's just something different, which is ideal. That's what I like to see. So for that reason alone, it's going to go in A tier. And maybe around mid A tier, I think. It's just something different and cool, and I love that. So, having a look at this, I think that's a pretty decent split, to be honest. These are probably going to be like the stuff that I race between S and A, stuff that I'm looking forward to racing most this season. The B and C stuff have the occasional tracks here and there, but you know there's enough crap in there, i.e. Summit Point, to make me not as excited about it. And then the D class has sprinkles of okay tracks, but the rest sucks. And then the Clio Cup, it's just not cut the mustard. I'm not having that. It's just no good. Those free tracks and the fact that Summit Point's in there, it's just not something I'm going to race. So let me know your opinions on what you think. Argue with me about how wrong I am in the comments. Leave something slightly hateful or leave something slightly nice. It's completely up to you. Any feedback is appreciated. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts. That's probably going to be the most interesting thing. Yeah, planning on doing some weekly videos to remind you guys of what is upcoming each week as the schedule releases, so that we can have a look week to week what's going to be on the schedule. So tune in for those. There might be a couple other videos here and there sprinkled on the channel throughout the rest of the season, but I reckon I'll do another one of these right before the start of season 2. So I'll leave you with that. Have a good one.